Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. In this video I want to talk to you about 3 ways that you can try and bow straighter. Now before I get into the video, I just want to talk to you all about my 1 to 30 violin course. I know I have a lot of new viewers and subscribers that come to my channel all the time, and you have no idea that I have a most fabulous 1 to 30 violin course which is 100% downloadable. And before we get into the video, I just want to take just a few moments to tell you about it because it really is so good and it guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very accomplished intermediate player. So my 1 to 30 violin course guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very accomplished intermediate player. Basically, it's going to take you from playing like this to playing like this. This is the only interactive and all-encompassing course available online and the closest you'll ever get to having a real teacher sitting there in the room with you. This course has been developed using my many years of experience as a violin teacher, performer, and actually a London College of Music examiner for one of the top exam boards in the UK. And this has given me a very unique and particular insight into teaching and how it should be taught. So this course takes you from a complete beginner, so you don't know anything about music. It will teach you how to hold the violin, how to hold the bow, where to place the violin, where to actually bow on the strings. So you don't even need to be a musician to learn to play via this course. You don't need to know anything about anything. Of course, if you do know something about music and you've played an instrument in the past, then that's obviously going to help you. But you don't need to know anything about music. And this course will take you through everything you need to know. So once you've learnt to hold the violin, it will start to teach you some open strings and then gradually adding in a few of the finger notes. After each set of 10 lessons, you will then move on to a songbook. Each songbook contains 10 well-known classical pieces that have been arranged for the exact level of the previous 10 lessons. So lessons 1 to 10. Then you would go on to this songbook 1, and everything in this songbook 1, it will encompass everything that you've learned in lessons 1 to 10. There'll be nothing more, nothing less in there. Then you will move on to lessons 11 to 20. Once you've completed those, you will move on to songbook 2. Songbook 2 will be at the exact level that you will be at after you've got to lesson 20. After that, you'll move on to the next set of 10 lessons and then finish off with songbook 3. And the piece that I played at the beginning of this was from the songbook 3. The beauty of this whole course is that it's priced very, very fairly, and you don't have to commit to any weekly lessons. You can do them exactly when you want to. It's fully interactive, as I say, with the videos online and everything that you need in the books. You don't need any other materials if you don't want to know all the sheet music. And the best part about it is that the first 10 lessons are 100% absolutely free. I want you to try the first 10 lessons. I want you to see how I teach, see how you get on with it, see if you're actually playing, see if you actually learn. And if you do like the first 10 lessons, then you can go ahead and purchase the rest of the books that we've got here. So I stand by my statement that my 1 to 30 violin course guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very accomplished intermediate. Okay, so I want to talk to you about 3 tips on how you can bow straight on the violin. But essentially what it is just making sure that your bow is in the middle of between the fingerboard and the bridge. And also just making sure that you are bowing from the elbow. So as you can see here, my elbow is here, and when I'm bowing, my elbow is moving. Nothing up here is moving. So the movement is coming strictly from the elbow only. The movement is not coming from my shoulder. Now what I don't want to do is move this part of the arm from the elbow to the shoulder. I don't want to be moving it any further back than my actual back. So I don't want to be doing any of this. I want to keep it fully in line with my back. Then I position my violin where it should be, my bow on the strings like this. So as you can see, it is perfectly straight. Then what I'm going to do is just bow up and down, and you can see the movement is coming from my elbow only. I'm not making any sound just for the purpose of this video, but you get the idea. So this is what we want to do, but it's very, very hard to get this movement and feel where this movement is, because it's somewhat a little bit unnatural. So when you're bowing, you naturally want to pull the bow down towards this way. So instead of pulling the bow towards that way, so as you can see, it's sort of going to the corner of the screen there, but that actually feels very unnatural. So if I think back to what it used to be like when I first started to learn the violin and I bow down, I feel going straight is going down here, but as you can see, it's not. It's pulling the bow that way. Now 2 things are happening here. One, my arm is going back further than my actual back, which I said is a no-no. And the second thing is that this hand with the bow attached to it that's pulling down is pulling down towards the middle of the screen, which is here where my finger is, whereas in reality it needs to sort of go down towards the corner of the screen. But it seems odd that you're pushing it to a corner, but it's not. It's just that that's where it needs to go straight, because of the way the violin is. Because the violin isn't out in front of you, if the violin was in front of you here at 12 o'clock, it would probably feel more natural in a way. It's totally not natural, but you get what I mean. But because of the way the violin is, because we're all kind of on a bit of a tilt here, to pull the bow down straight, my arm has to go towards that bottom corner, which you can see here, not in the middle of the screen, which you can see here. If I do that, immediately the bow is on a tilt. However, if I pull the bow towards the corner of the screen, my bow is kept nice and straight. So that feels that way because the bow needs to come out. It's almost like the arm needs to pull away from you, not stay parallel along your body here. It's not like you're going along your body this way. You're almost pulling the bow arm out. That's the theory behind it. How do you get used to that? Well, I've got 3 ways of doing that. Now, the first way to do that is to put something in the F-holes. Now, what you can do is take a little bit of A4 piece of paper, and I've ripped it in half, so it's now A5 size. And I've kind of folded it into this sort of shape, so I don't know, it's maybe an inch in thickness. It doesn't really matter. And what you're going to do is bend it and put it in. I'll put it round the F-hole. So it is in the F-hole and it looks like that. The reason why I bend it that way is because at least then it has some stability. You don't want the kind of paper flapping about in the wind and everything. So, you know, it's not going to harm the violin. You don't have to worry about that because it's just paper. But there we go, it's just sort of sitting in the F-holes. What you can do is fold this up into more of a straw shape and put it in the actual circle of the F-hole. You know, whatever's up to you. The second thing you can do is to actually get a straw. Some straws are a lot thinner than others. This is just one of those, just like one of those metallic party straws. So I think it's like cardboard or something, and they generally tend to be a little bit thicker. You can't really get the plastic ones so much these days. So ironically, this fits perfectly into this F-hole, quite nicely, but it's actually a bit looser on the other side there. So you could try a different straw. Straws might not work for you, but if you can get a straw to work, then you can get a straw to work. But I will just show you. The straw is obviously ideal, but just because of the shape of it. But you know, what you could do is cut the straw so there's not so much there. Either which way, put a straw in or put your bit of paper in like that, and there you have your method of bowing straight. So what you want to do then is just make sure that your bow is hitting both of those all the time. So if your bow is only hitting the straw on the left, and then you can see that there's a bit of a gap between the wood and the paper here, then you know that you are drawing your arm backwards. The whole point is to make sure that the wood of your bow is in line with both of these at the same time. The one on the right is the one that you want to pay particular attention to, because that is where you're moving your arm. It feels very unnatural to want to move your arm away from you. I'm moving my arm all the way over there in that kind of in that diagonal corner. It doesn't feel right to want to do that. I want to pull my arm kind of across my body. So if you just get into your head that you're going to have to be pushing your arm away from you, that will help you. And also that keeping it in line with that one, so the bit of paper or the straw or whatever it is on the right is the one that you need to pay the most attention to. So that's something that you can do. You might find that the bow hair will kind of brush against the paper, and it can give you like a slight bit of a rattling sound. Don't worry too much about that. This is just sort of a little exercise that you want to sort of try every now and then take it off, and then see if you can sort of remind yourself to bow a little bit sort of further outwards. So the next one that you can do is make sure your arm is against a wall. So I've just twizzled the camera around a little bit, and what I'm going to do is push my arm against this wall. So I know my arm can't go any further back. So do you remember that we said that we don't want the arm going any further back than your actual back? So I'm just kind of try and swivel this chair around. This is obviously easier if you don't have a camera set up like me, because you can simply just stand in front of a wall. If I didn't have you guys and I wasn't filming, then yes, this would be easier to do that. But you should get the idea. So what you want to do is stand with your shoulder. Let me get my hair around the other way. So stand with your shoulder against that wall. So your arm is against the wall. So you can't move your arm any further back. You can move your arm forward and away from so your shoulder is always touching. You can't physically move your arm back. Now, whichever way your body is going to be your new position for the violin. So what you want to do is have the shoulder and this arm touching the wall. Then you set up the violin, so you'll be about this, and make sure the bow is straight like this. Then you can actually twizzle yourself around. So I need to actually go around a little bit more. So position the arm straight on the position the bow arm straight on the violin, roughly in the middle, if you like, doesn't really matter. And then position yourself so that this arm here is completely flat against the wall, and that way you're going to be in the right position for your violin. You don't want to be up out here because your arm is nowhere near the wall. So that's about right for me. And then when I bow, I can bring my arm away from the wall. I'm not sure if you can see that, but when I bow down, I'm bowing down to here. I physically can't move my arm anymore, but I can move my elbow down. So elbow up until I get to where I can't move my arm anymore, and then I can lift it away from the wall. So that sort of makes sense. So if I had a wall here, I would be bowing down to the wall until I can't move my arm back anymore, but I can continue bowing with my elbow, and then I bow my elbow back up again until I'm going to take my arm away from that wall, and then I can bow up. So it's almost like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, all while I'm not making sure that I'm bowing my arm back. So you're almost bowing in like a 4 kind of step movement. So you can do this in conjunction with the with the little bits of paper or the straw or something on the violin if you really want to, but you might not need that. It just sort of depends which one is helpful to you. But so moving on, the third thing that you can do is to play in front of a mirror. I don't have a mirror that I can set up here that I can show you with everything kind of refracting off all the angles and everything, but simply just play in front of a mirror that you've got, the bathroom mirror, if you've got a vanity mirror, any mirror that you've got where you've got room to you know, position yourself nicely. If you were really clever, you could combine all 3 together at the same time. So you could have a mirror. Obviously it's going to depend on where your mirror is. Maybe you can move the mirror if that's possible, but you can position yourself so that you've got your arm against the wall and do the whole arm wall thing. You can put the paper in as well. You know, it's just completely up to you. But for me personally, I did use the paper. I do recall using the paper at some point many years ago. But I think for me, the easiest thing was simply just to play in front of a mirror. And that's exactly what I did. So I used to play in the bathroom mirror. Our bathroom at home was tiled, so I got a really nice acoustic sound as well. So I used to just play in the bathroom in front of the mirror, and that was just everything that I needed really. And that was the best way of learning for me. So whatever way works for you, but that's just 3 ways of trying to bow a little bit straighter if possible. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, all the links to my 1 to 30 downloadable violin course will be underneath this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.